Welcome back to Mac Talks of Football, and this is the video in which I make my predictions for the weekend's games. It's match day 3 in the Premier League. The first 2 weeks have been okayish for me, nothing spectacular, so I'm hoping to make it better this weekend. The second week was quite better as compared to the first one, so let's keep it going and let's try to get as many points from my predictions as we can. The point system is quite simple. It's 3 points if the entire prediction is correct, and if it's 2 points if the team that I predict to win is correct, but the score is not correct, so I get the 2 points. So without further ado, let's get on with the predictions. This weekend there are quite interesting games. One of the biggest games of the season is in the Premier League is going to take place as well, and plus we are going to see a lot of new faces play because the deadline day just ended about 5 to 6 hours ago, so a lot of transfers were made, players switching sides. It was quite an interesting transfer window after a couple of years. Like it became sort of a dull last 2-3 years. This one was quite interesting. Starting off with the first game, it is Arsenal versus Brighton. My club Arsenal, and I mean it will be quite an interesting game. Arsenal are at home. They have started very good. They were really good against Wolves, then against Villa as well. They were quite they played really smart. They defended for the majority of the first half, and then in the second half they changed gears and they started to attack. They created a good amount of chances and they got the goals. They finished their chances, and Aston Villa did not. So Arsenal, I would not say that Arsenal were really good, but they were really they played well as compared to what many people think, because Villa have become sort of our bogey team. We have not able to defeat them, so to go at their stadium and to get the win, I think it was quite a good thing for the team. It's been 2 games, 2 wins. It's the 100% record for the Arsenal, but they are playing their team in Brighton, who themselves have a 100% record. First week they went away to Goodison Park, defeated Everton quite convincingly, and last week against Manchester United they were really good. Manchester United were bad, there is no doubt about that, but Brighton were really good. Their new manager Fabian Husler has come in and set in very well with the squad, and I think it is going to be quite an interesting season for Brighton. They are coming to Arsenal, and I think it is going to be it is going to be quite an interesting game, quite an entertaining game. These teams like to attack, like to score goals. Their playing styles are almost quite similar, so it will be very interesting to see how the game goes on. Arsenal have not conceded a goal till now. Their defense has been really good. It was great last season as well, and this year till now it has been also very good. So they will try to make sure that they continue with that. This is the last game before going to the international break, so every team would want to finish it on a high and then go on the international break. I think it is going to be quite an entertaining game. I think Brighton will score, but I think Arsenal will just edge it. So I am going for a 2-1 home win, and Arsenal continue their 100% record in the league at the start of the season before going to the international break. The next game is Nottingham Forest versus Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Nottingham Forest they won last week against Southampton. It was quite an important win for them because they were facing a team that could turn out to be one of their relegation rivals, so to get 3 points away, especially at their stadium, was quite impressive, and they played really good. It was quite a good game, even though it ended 1-0, but it was quite an open game, end-to-end stuff. They are playing against a Wolves side who had one of the most bizarre games of the weekend. Like the first half was spectacular, 2-2 fighting toe-to-toe with Chelsea, and the second half and a Meadowiki happened, and Chelsea just ran away with. They lost 6-2 against the at Chelsea. They have now lost 2 on the bounce. They lost to Arsenal on the opening day, so they would want to get back to winning ways, or even try to get a point out of this game. But I have said that Wolves are gonna struggle, but the way they played in that first half, it did not really show that they are gonna struggle. But I think this game is going to be quite interesting. It's going to be quite physical, and I don't think either of the team gets a way out of it with a win. I'm going with a 1-1 draw between Forest and Wolves. If I have to pick one, I would say Wolves might edge it, but I'm going to stay on the fence in this game. I see Nottingham 1 and Wolves 1. The next game is Leicester City versus Aston Villa, and Leicester City, they lost last week to Fulham, and Villa lost to Arsenal. So both of the teams lost last week, and I think Villa would be one of the teams that would be more disappointed because they had the chances to go ahead and win the game against Arsenal. I mean, Ollie Watkins missing an open goal was quite a disastrous thing for them. So, and they paid the price for that. So they would want to get back to winning ways. And they are playing a Leicester City team who I've said I don't they have looked any good till now. They got that like the 5, 10, 15 minutes of fame against Spurs through Jamie Vardy. They were brought right back down to earth in the Fulham game, I think, and I think it is going to continue. I see Villa winning here comfortably, even though they are away. I still think Villa are going to win it. I think they might concede, but I am going for a 3-1 Aston Villa win in this game. Next game is Ipswich Town versus Fulham. Ipswich Town got destroyed by Manchester City, and everybody expected that to happen. They started the game well, 5-6 minutes. They get the lead as well, but after that catastrophe, like they conceded 3 goals in the space of 7 minutes, and that was it for them. They are playing against a Fulham side who defeated Leicester 2-1. They are high on confidence. I said in my review video as well that they were really good, and they were unlucky in the first game against Manchester United. They got that win against Leicester, and now they are playing in Ipswich Town, and Marco Silva and his players would really want to go ahead and get the win. They now have very important like that great players that they have made the signings. Like most of Arsenal players are at Fulham, so it will be quite interesting, and I think they have assembled quite a good squad now, and Marco Silva has a great chance to take them in the upper half of the table. I have predicted them to finish in 10th or 11th, one of those places, but with the players now that he has, I think they can even try to get into that 8th or 9th spot. It will be hard for them because I have Chelsea finishing 9th, so for them to try to get into it, it will be quite tough, but it could turn out to be a very good season for Fulham. Yeah, speaking on this game, I think Fulham are gonna go to the Ipswich Stadium and they are gonna get the win. It is going to be quite a good atmosphere because Ipswich at home in the Premier League, every game it will be quite an amazing atmosphere. But Fulham go there and they win it 2-0 and they get the 3 points quite easily. The next game is Brentford versus Southampton, and again both of these teams lost last weekend. I was quite disappointed with Brentford because I thought they would give Liverpool a bit of a tough time because they have the players that they can have a good game with, like they like to attack, and I thought with Liverpool being in Anfield and they are going to attack as well, it could turn out to be quite an interesting game, but it did not. Liverpool were really good, and Brentford did not really have any answers to them, so it was quite a one-sided game. They are playing a Southampton side who themselves lost. It has not been a good start for Southampton, and I think they would be very disappointed because both the games that they lost, they could have easily won against Newcastle. 10 men down Newcastle, and Southampton created so many chances, but they were not able to finish. Same again last week against Nottingham Forest. They had a lot of chances, but they did not finish them, and Nottingham Forest then went ahead and scored and punished them. This game, I think Brentford at our home, and I think they would the fans would want a response to last week's loss, and then to the news that Ivan Toney is no longer a Brentford player. I think that is going to be a very big miss for them this season. So the fans would want some sort of response for that, and I think Southampton and are going to pay the brunt for it. I think Brentford win this quite comfortably. I'm going for a 3-0 Brentford win. The next game is Everton versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth played a 1-1 draw against Newcastle, and I think that was quite an interesting game. I really did not think that Newcastle would draw this game, but Bournemouth were really good. They have lost Dominic Solanke to Spurs, but they are still looking really good. They are looking really sharp, and I think they could surprise a few teams with the way they are playing against Everton. They have been dreadful. They lost 3-0 to Brighton, then they followed it up with a 4-0 dropping against Spurs. I mean it's not looking really good for Everton, and they need to do something very quickly. I really thought that this could be a season where Everton don't really get into a transfer into a relegation scrap, but the way they have started, it looked like my prediction is going to be wrong and they are going to be right back at it. This is a bit tough to call. Everton could surprise everybody and get that home win and finish the go on international break on a high, but the way Bournemouth have played, I think and they could also go ahead and edit, so that's why I'm going to stay on the fence on this one as well. I think it will be a one all. I will say it's going to be a 0-0 draw between Everton and Bournemouth. The last game for Saturday is West Ham United versus Manchester City. Both teams won last weekend, so it is going to be quite an interesting game for both of them. West Ham have not had a sort of a good start. They had to play Villa on the opening weekend. That was a tough game. Then they played Crystal Palace. That was a tough game, but West Ham were really good, and now they have to host Manchester City. I think this is one of those teams like the Arsenal game last week where you can expect Manchester City to drop the points, because West Ham have brought in so many good players. Their transfer window has been amazing, and the way that they are playing against Lopetegui, you are seeing the you're seeing his imprint starting to come onto his team. I think they are going to have an amazing season. Do I think that they can stop Manchester City's 100% record, especially after last week's amazing performance against Ipswich? Do I think that they are gonna drop the points? I would love it. Like, I would love it, love nothing more than that, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a close game, a very close game, but I think City just edge it. I am going for a 2-1 Manchester City win. I think it is going to be one of those games there, where after the game ends, we say that common phrase that that's how champions win the trophies. I think it's going to be a game I like that. Moving on to the Sunday fixtures, it's Chelsea versus Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace they lost last weekend, and then they did not lose. Yeah, they lost. My head is all over the place. Last night was quite hectic because of deadline day. The Crystal Palace, they lost last weekend against West Ham, and I think they played a good. I'm not gonna lie, but they did not finish their chances as they hit the woodwork a couple of times. They make Areola had to make a good saves as well. They were not that bad against West Ham. They played good, but they just did not finish their chances. Chelsea, on the other hand, they were spectacular. I mean, first half their defense was all over the place, but second half I think they just have to thank Madueke. He scored 2-3 goals within a space of 4-5 minutes that the Wolves were down and out, and that sort of helped them. They won 6-2. It was quite a convincing win, and now this week it's a London derby. They are at home. They have new players coming in. They have a lot of outgoings as well. You can say Maresca has got the players that he wanted, and I think it will be quite an interesting season for them. In this game, I think see, as Chelsea are going to have a season where one week they are spectacular and the next week they are going to be dreadful. So it will be every week. It will be quite hard to predict what Chelsea are going to do, but just because they are at home and the way they played last week. But then you can say on Thursday they lost to they lost their Conference League game against Sarhavate. I don't know. I don't even know how to pronounce the club's name. I'll be very honest with you. So that's how Chelsea are going to be. But I would still say they will edge it. I will say I think they win it. It will be a close game, quite a tough game. I say Chelsea win it 1-0, and they continue their winning ways. And the next game is Newcastle versus Tottenham, and I mean this is a tough one to call. Newcastle drew last weekend, but Spurs were spectacular against Everton. I mean, what a game that was, and they really showed their attacking prowess in that game. Spurs should have won against Leicester on a match day one as well, but Jamie Vardy had some other plans. So I think it will be a good tough game. As I said, Newcastle, they drew against Brentford. They went away and they got that win, and you would say that Newcastle would be a bit disappointed that they did not get the 3 points, because they created a lot of chances chances in the second half, especially after getting the equalizer, but they were not able to break down Brentford. So this time they are at home. I think both these teams like to play attacking football. Postecoglou and Eddie Howe both are attack minding manager, and the way they play football, both of them, like, it's quite good to see. And I think there will be goals in this game. Both the teams would want to win. Both of them are competing for those top 4 places. I am going for a 2-all draw between Newcastle and Tottenham. And the last game, it's Manchester United versus Liverpool. I mean, one of the biggest games in the Premier League. Does not matter how bad Liverpool or Manchester United are playing prior to this game, or how good they are playing, everything goes out of the window. It is the biggest rivalry in English football. So you can expect anything in this game. Anybody can come up and become a superstar, and I think it will be quite interesting because United were quite good for me in the first half. People said they were not good against Fulham. I don't know what game they were saying. Like, they were really good in the first half. If Bruno Fernandes takes his chances, United would have gone into the first after the first half. They could have easily been 2-3 nil up, and they should have won more with a bigger margin against Fulham. Last week against Brighton, I mean, they were abysmal because of their defense, but their attackers, they scored two goals that were ruled offside. So that's why Ten Hag has prioritized his defense. All the signings that he has made have been concentrated on the defense. He's brought in 3 defenders. He's brought in a defensive midfielder. In Ugarte. Last night he was announced as well. So I think it is going to change a lot. I think their defense is going to be a bit better. It's gonna take time. They are lucky that this is their last game before the international break, so they can get into a rhythm with each other. The unfortunate thing for them is that the game is against Liverpool, and the way that Arne Slot has started at the game, his managerial career at Liverpool. I think it will be quite an interesting game. It is at Old Trafford. It is like not a night game. It is not a day game. It's like an evening sort of a game. It's going to be very tough. I don't want to sit on the fence. I just don't know which side to go. But the way that Liverpool have played the last couple of weeks, they have been really good. United, in my predictions, I said United are going to finish 3rd, and I said Liverpool are going to finish 6th. Even my friends were like, this is not wrong, but I just have this feeling about United. And the thing was that at that time Liverpool had not made any signings, and I said Liverpool need to bring in player. They have brought in Kiza from Juventus. I think that's a very smart signing, but still I think Liverpool might be short in comparison to others. But the way they have started, they looked really good. So I am going for an away game. I don't think it is going to be any a big margin of defeat. I think it's going to be a very low scoring, like it will be a tight game. I think it will be quite an interesting game to watch. I will say it will be a 3-2 or 2-1, something like that. Let's go with 3-2. Let's go with an entertaining game of football between the two clubs. The big game in the Premier League. Like, this is the biggest game in Europe. Yeah, this is the biggest game of the weekend in Europe throughout. If even in the all 5 leagues, you don't have a bigger game than this. So I would want an exciting game out of this. So I am going 3-2 Liverpool. They get the win at Old Trafford, and Manchester United fans lose their mind yet again. So this is it. These are my predictions for match day 3 in the Premier League. I would love for you guys to play along as well. You can make your prediction in the comment section below, and we will see who manages to get more points at the end of the weekend, and we'll see who gets more points at the end of the season. We are gonna tally every week, and we're gonna see who gets more points. So you can go ahead and make your prediction in the comment section below. The transfer window has ended, and the international break is starting, but I'm gonna drop a lot of content. There are going to be a lot of tier lists about the transfers and stadiums and manager. A lot of content is coming, and we're going to focus on the international football as well. So before we come back to club football and the madness begins again. So until then, like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. As I said, a lot of a new type of content is gonna come starting the international break, because we don't have now to focus on the transfers, and there is not going to be games on for the club, so a different type of content is going to come as well. So go ahead and subscribe. So we have a target of getting to 300 subscribers before the month of September ends. We have crossed 150 marks, so we are slowly getting there. So we need to make sure that we achieve that target of 300 subscribers before we start the month or end the month of September. So go ahead and subscribe, and until next time, bye bye.